Welcome back to the Football Terrace. Good afternoon to each and every single one of you. Hope you are well. Of course, we just got through the midweek Champions League games, and it just feels like a little lull now between now and the weekend. Now and the real festive period kicking off. We've got a double whammy in the next week of Premier League games. This weekend, we've got the big midweek fixtures as well as we lead up to the Christmas week. It's going to be very exciting. Transfer rumors are now starting to build up massively as well. We're going to go through some of that on the show today, but also want to get your thoughts and want to get your feelings as well. What you're thinking? What's going through your head? Anything else you want to speak about on the show today? Remember, my stream, but your show. Get your comments in. Member chats and super chats, of course, always take a priority. So much respect to the people that do that for us here. But yeah, we're here to talk. We're here to have a chat. There's a few stories that are really interesting to me that I want to delve into, that I want to talk to you, the viewers, about as well. If you do see me looking down, so I'm looking at my monitor, but the camera's there, monitor's there, like this. So yeah, that's what I'm looking down. That's all. Who's here today? Who's here today? What you saying? Who's in the comment section that wants to say hello? It's a bit quiet today. It does feel like a quiet day in general across socials. David Gardner's here. He's not talking to me though. Someone leave a comment so I know you're listening as well. That's what's really important to me sometimes, is I don't know whether you're listening. I don't even know if you're hearing things okay. And I'm still waiting. Nothing's come through yet here on. I can't see it on StreamYard. Oh, I can see them. Maybe they're not coming through properly on StreamYard, because I can see them on the other platforms. Ah, there we go. Look, we've got some hellos at last. We're getting them come through now. But there we go. I think Kurt spelt his name stupid differently. Big up, Tel. What are we talking about? Have we spelt a name wrong? I don't think we have. Have we? No, I don't think we have. Maybe you're all talking to each other. But look, we've got some transfer rumors to jump into and delve into as well this afternoon on the Football Terrace. One, of course, being Haidara linked with Man United. A real interesting story coming out of Germany in relation to this, that Leipzig are working very, very hard to change the terms of the contract or potential buyout clause. It sits between 35 and 45 million. It depends on what publication you read. But for a player who's rated as highly as Haidara, of course, a player that Ralf Rangnick loves, in a position that Man United need to improve in that central midfield area, it's an intriguing story to see emerge again. And I read this earlier. This is what was quoted earlier on from RB Live, who are a very reliable news outlet, very, very reliable news outlet from that part of Germany, said that I'm going to try and pronounce the name right, but the RB Leipzig chief, whose name is pronounced Oliver Mitzlaff, that's how I'm pronouncing it. It says that when he was talking about Haidara to Man United, he says, of course, he is a player that Ralf Rangnick loves. He says Leipzig are trying to create a different situation in regards to his exit scenario, i.e. the release clause. So they're sort of looking at trying to increase that. What they're going to do is very smart. It actually appears that this could be happening at Inter Milan with Lautaro Martinez as well. You increase the contract, you pay the player additional money as compensation. It makes it harder for that player to leave, but it raises the buyout clause or the potential transfer fee. It's very much what the Luis Suarez is and Cristiano Ronaldo did at Liverpool and Man United respectively years ago. You sign a new deal, but the intention is still to leave. But because you've got a longer contract, you make it a much more expensive process for a potential club. The likes of RB, the RB projects, a lot of players owe a lot to them as a project. There's no doubt about it. They've done so much for so many players. So I'm not surprised to really see this kind of going on and being said right now. But it's certainly a signing I'm interested in. It's a player that, since we've had the links, I've done a lot of research into. He isn't the defensive CDM. He isn't an Ndidi. He is more of a carrier. He's more of a box-to-box. He, for me, is someone that would improve our position, take out Scott McTominay, put in Haidara. There's the potential there to have a very, very good midfielder. And at around 35 to 40 million pounds, in the contemporary sense, in football, that is very, very cheap indeed. So, intriguing one for me. And of course, that information was shared today from our friends over at MUFC MPB. One thing I've never asked the guys over there is what MPB stands for. Does anyone know MPB? Maybe. KJ just covered. It could be anything, but we want to see. We're going to talk Wijnaldum a little bit later on in the show as well, because it's interesting how he's linked with a move away from Tottenham. Away from PSG already, with Tottenham, Leicester, Arsenal, and I believe I read in this article earlier on today, West Ham, Leicester, Tottenham, and Arsenal all linked with a potential move for Gini Wijnaldum. What's kind of gone on at PSG? That's one of the questions that I have for people. What has gone on at PSG? Like Messi don't look happy. The manager looks like he wants to leave. Mbappe's not signing a new deal. Gini's joined them, but it looks, they're happy to offer him out already and let him leave and come back to the Premier League. That's an intriguing one for me. And how many Premier League sides would take Gini Wijnaldum back? That's a question for you, the audience, right now. How many of you would like Gini Wijnaldum back in the Prem and at your club? I don't think he's linked back to Liverpool, so I wouldn't be back at your club. But I want to know. Chris here says he won't move. He's on like 250K. Look, deals can be done. Some of these clubs can afford near that. On top of it, if PSG is, why are they so desperate? That's what I read 3 articles on it today, and there was no real reasoning for it. He's having a difficult spell, but maybe PSG think we've made a big mistake. Maybe PSG have tried. Jurgen Klopp used Gini in a very specific role, workhorse. The Dutch side, he's more of a creator, he's more of a goal scorer. But it's hard to put Gini into a creative role for PSG. That's exactly what Mbappe and Lionel Messi, the second greatest player ever, Lionel Messi, is there for. And I just think maybe it's a bad fit. Maybe you can do a deal with PSG. Maybe you say, look, we'll pay 150 grand. You've got to cover the rest. A deal could be done. But the question is, would you take him? That's what I'm asking today. Would you take him? Martin says, no, thanks. He's 31. I don't know who you support, Martin, but he's very good, though, isn't he? Liverpool fans, for large parts of this season, were fuming that he left. Excuse me. David here says, Arsenal will. They love all the scraps. William, anyone. Well, does anyone see that as a risk then? Do people think maybe Gini Wijnaldum's at 31 and he's just done? Like his body said, nah, mate, you ain't ready. But that doesn't make sense in France, though, because France is not a hard league. Like France is, man like Choupo-Moting was looking like a baller out there. Ander Herrera looks like Xavi out there. Like Idrissa Gana Gueye, good player in the Prem. He looks brilliant over there. So maybe that's just me. Maybe that's me. Sharik here. Good evening, Terry. How am I doing? I'm very well, my friend. Kind of enjoying today. Got the Bet Victor show later. We're recording Friday night on the terrace and just chilling. Just chilling, looking at the news come in. Thought I'd come here this afternoon and talk to my people. Chris George, one of my members here, says, I think Liverpool should have tried harder to keep him, but he wanted an increase in wages. Can you imagine Liverpool getting him back? PSG paying someone in wages. Maybe that was the plan all along. Well, now this Spurs fan here says Wijnaldum under Conte. Yeah, I look at Wijnaldum at Spurs with how they want to play in the middle with Højbjerg. Højbjerg, Ndombele, Gini Wijnaldum. That's a tasty midfield for an Antonio Conte side with the way they play, their bullish nature, their workmanlike. They will work like Conte's teams. I don't associate them with flair. And of course, there's brilliant moments of skill, but they're workhorses. It's a workhorseman's team. It's a workhorseman's team, in my opinion. That's what I'd say. That's what I would say. I'm looking at some of these. League One is very physical. It's not a great league, but stop inventing. It ain't very good, though, is it? Like, PSG are a very good team. Outside of that, come on. Like, I don't know who you support, Steph. But are any of the English teams scared about getting Lille in the next round? No. What other French teams are left in the Champions League? Anyone know? Or even in it? None. Who's worried about Lille? No one. It's my point. It's my point, my people. Let's talk Arsenal. I want to talk Arsenal for a minute as well, people, because we didn't really touch on it yesterday, but today I've been looking at transfer stories. You're linked with a striker. Great. What's going on with this Vlahovic stuff? Why does Vlahovic not want to talk to Arsenal? Why have his agents and reps rejected conversations with Arsenal? Point blank, does not want to join. Is that because he's got his heart set on Man City Or is it Arsenal's, or is it an Arsenal specific situation? Because Spurs are in conversations. He's talking to Spurs, even though City look like the favourites. Why not Arsenal? In desperate need of it. And if you can't get him, who are you going to get? Who is that striker? And when do you need that person in? We need to chat about this. We need to chat about it. Airborne Assistant says, Assassin, sorry, says Vlahovic is going to City. And he may very well be. But the point is he's talking to other clubs. Why is he refusing to talk to Arsenal? If you indeed believe that story, you might think that journalist is talking tosh. But I want to know. And if you can't get him, the Spurs fan here says, what about Lukaku to Arsenal? Look, I think people are getting a bit harsh with Lukaku, you know. Like, he's getting a lot of stick at the minute. He's under a lot of pressure. And I don't really know why. Like, is there any real need? Is he really? I didn't really delve into it on the BV show on Tuesday. But the guys were talking about not being very good. There's a lot of talk about him, messing up the flow. Is he really that bad for Chelsea? Really? I don't know. Gunnar Louise perspective says it's Arteta tax. That's what I do believe. And I know a lot of Arsenal fans are not going to like hearing this. They're going to think I'm being it's banter and whatever. But look, I do look at the Arteta situation, and, you know, even if you're Dominic Calvert-Lewin is heavily linked with the move, do you really want to play for Arteta? You think about West Ham superior manager, Leicester superior manager, Wolves superior manager, Tottenham superior manager, United superior manager, City, Liverpool, Chelsea, of course, superior managers. That's like 8-9 teams already that have better managers. And you could probably name more. Arsenal have got to fix the managerial situation. Look, Arsenal can attract players without Champions League football because they're Arsenal Football Club. But they need to get rid of Mikel Arteta. He has to go. He has to go. He's got to be gone. They've got to fix up on this. They simply have. If they don't and they stick with him, honestly, I don't see. I right now, with the improvements certain clubs have made to their squads and teams and management, they're not getting above 6. 6 is the ceiling for Arsenal this year. And everyone's going to improve again next year. He may improve, but it's going to be marginal in comparison. They're just going to be left behind. And I do think more and more players will say no. I really do. Especially when some of these other teams, you know, we're going to be previewing this tonight on the Football Terrace and going into it in more detail. But looking at, you know, what Gerrard's done in such a short space of time at Aston Villa. Now, it's a bounce right now. No one's talking about it being consistent. But Gerrard could be another name added to the list very soon that people look at and consider to be a better manager than Mikel Arteta. And I think that's a real big thing. Chris here says, Alexander Isak. Man like Ites would love Isak in the Premier League. You know, I think he would absolutely buzz at the idea of him coming in and being involved. Flavic's interest. Sorry, where's that comment gone? Where's that at? Sometimes, Danny Devil in the details here, who's actually sitting opposite me as he writes this here, says, how did Man United sign players with Ollie in charge? Arsenal need Champions League football. They are not going to get it this season. And how many years is it? Is that 5 years now? They haven't had it. 4, 5? Wow. There is a conversation that needs to start soon. And that is when Arsenal fans eventually relinquish the standards. And it might still be 10 years away in people's minds, maybe because of the money they spend. But there comes a point where you have to look at Arsenal and just say, are they just done? In the same way, and I know you kids won't all appreciate this, and I don't mean that in a rude way. Teams like Ipswich and Villa and Nottingham Forest, once upon a time, were powerhouses. Everton were a powerhouse. If you'd have said in 1991 that Everton won't win another league title for over 30 years, you would have been called psychotic. They would have called you a madman. Liverpool, if you'd have said in the early 90s, Liverpool are going to go 30 years, you'd have been called crazy. So, yeah, maybe that is. Maybe Danny Devlin Details is right there. Maybe. A lot of United fans warn Chelsea about this. He's a good player, but just doesn't think he's top draw. I'd play Ron, Cavani, and Gunwood, even Rashford, maybe Tony above Lukaku. I mean, look, Lukaku is a finisher. He is a finisher. Ronaldo and I think I agree with you on look, on age. I would buy Lukaku over Cavani. Age. Cavani at his peak is better than Lukaku. Not a better goal scorer. Lukaku scores better goals. I think Cavani is a better overall football player. Not as quick, but better overall football player. Ronaldo, it's not. We're not even having that conversation. Mason Greenwood's got the ability to be better. He may not score as many goals. Might be a better overall football player, though. He might do. He might do. I'm just saying that Lukaku has a huge ceiling in terms of his goal scoring appetite and ability and what he's delivered. But Rashford and Martial over him as a striker, I don't know about that. And that's coming from me. I'm a big Rashford fan, as we all know. Oh, wow. I was looking for my drink. I can't find it. Over there. It's over there. Yeah, I did hear that. Divock Origi over Ronaldo. It's mad how a man can score like a couple of goals in, cheers, mate. Thank you. A couple of goals in a week. And then suddenly he's better than CR7, you know. There we go. Terry, been on to Arsenal lately, coming like the English media, hyping them and then destroying them in the end. It's not like that, my bro. It's not like that. It's how do I explain this in the right way? It's more a case of I will praise a team where I see improvements, but don't H7. I respect you, my friend. You hear a lot on the terrace. I respect that. But what did I say the whole time with these improvements? Excuse the pun, but I said take your time with it. Slow down with it. Don't get carried away with it, because there was always the possibility that there was another dip. It was the talk of we should be favourites for top 4. We've got one of the best defences in the league. Ben White is going to show you all that he's better than Varane. We've got a better squad than Man United. We've turned the corner. We're going to be competitive in the big games now. We're back. These types of claims or implying these things. Some people are very clever at wording their sentences in a way that so they've got a get out, but they are directly. So when you challenge them, but what are you actually saying? That's where it was. I just said be mindful of that. I didn't say you hadn't improved, and I stand by that. There have been improvements this season. You've got more points than at this stage last year. You're in my opinion, you're in a better position. You've improved the squad. You could still have a better campaign than last year, but saying that was a guarantee after winning 3 or 4 games, I thought was crazy, and I stand by that. I do stand by that. Jude Bellingham is a long... Yeah, do you know what? Jude Bellingham, right? Every time I look at Dortmund's results at the minute, he seems to be getting assists. His level of creativity is brilliant. He's out of this world, Jude Bellingham. He's technical ability coupled with his outputs at his age are absolutely astounding. It's interesting, though, because a lot of people are like Bundesliga tax. But then yesterday you're telling me that I was wrong to ever doubt Sane because Sane is now delivering. And I'm like, you can't say Sane is delivering and Jude Bellingham's got Bundesliga tax. Again, those two things don't compute. Sane is doing very, very well, and he should be in that team and in that league. And Jude Bellingham's doing very, very well. The Premier League, though, is a different beast. The Premier League is a different animal. So I still think Jude Bellingham needs another year at least, just playing regularly in Dortmund without the pressures. When Jude comes to a Premier League team, the world and these dogs' eyes are on him. Rivals are... Look how everyone's been with Jadon Sancho this year. You know, just on him. Look how people... Like, all rivals are looking at Phil Foden to foul. They're all looking at our youngsters at our club to foul. Look what Trent's been going through for 4 or 5 years. Trent can have a bad 3 or 4 games, and it's, see, I told you he's a fraud. I think Jude just needs to stay out the way for a little while longer first myself. I really do. A few people talking about Greenwood. Yeah, by the way, Greenwood's goal last night. Woo! Someone actually messaged me again, what does Greenwood actually do? I was like, scores over head kicks in the Champions League, bruv. Yeah. Chris's comment here about Arsenal is bang on. He says, when the pressure is off, watch us start winning games just like the unbeaten run we were on. And that's also key. And this is where context is important. What games are you winning? When? What stage of the season? What is the pressure? I feel like when Arsenal started going on this run, they were written off. And what Arteta has been okay at doing, and Man United were okay at doing this under Ollie, is when they're written off, they kind of have like a little resurgence, have a little bump. And is that because there's no pressure suddenly because everybody thinks you're going to lose? Arsenal played 2 games in a week to put themselves fourth and then cement themselves fourth and to show the world that they'd turned that corner. And they conceded 6 goals in 2 games. That's got to be a worry for a Gooner, in my opinion. Whoever gets Jude Bellingham will have one of the very best CMs in the world football in 10 to 12 years. Well, yeah, for 10 to 12 years. I think you're right there. Whoever does sign him is going to have an absolute colossal player. There's no doubt about that whatsoever. Competition now time on the football terrace. Let's have a little look at this. So we're giving away a PlayStation 5, a pair of Cristiano Ronaldo's football boots, a Boohoo Man hoodie, and £100 cash. All you need to do is guess the football terrace secret phrase. Now, we've given you many, many clues about this in past shows. And I'll give them to you again now. Arsenal, Tottenham, and Liverpool have a connection. The Manchester Derby has a connection. Rival fans hate it. You love it when it happens to you. The name Murta is a clue. And Michael Owen is another. They're all your cryptic clues for the secret phrase. Get those super chats in now and guess what you think it is to win those prizes, people. Get that done. Get that done. Terry is the GOAT. I know, G. Friend of mine was on a meeting with a really big publication yesterday, and they were like, "Oh, like, I got it was nice. It was nice, right? It was a nice compliment for me because they were like, oh, I've been seeing you on the terrace recently with the Godfather." Oh, the Godfather. And yeah, the Godfather of football content. I was like, it was one person who said it who works for that company. What was it? What was the other one? Big Man Terry. That was the other one. And I was like, that's a nice compliment. Like, I don't take it too seriously. Like, I'm not a Don. I ain't a Godfather. I don't look at myself as a pioneer. But it's nice that some people think that. So thank you very, very much indeed. It's nice. Sareem says, Murta from Lethal Weapon. Listen, we haven't hit a threshold for like another clue for a long, long time. If this stream hits 500 likes, we will give you the other clue. We'll give you the other clue. Terry, I'm still confused. Who rejected Arsenal? Vlahovic. He said, no, I don't want to play for you. Can you imagine he sang it down the phone like that? Can you imagine if he goes Tottenham? It says no to Arsenal. The banter is going to be mad. But there we go. We've got a super chat here, actually. It's coming through now. It says, Greenwood was on fire last night. I am excited to see Ralph rotate the squad wisely. Secret phrase, world-class number 7s. No, it isn't, but it's a decent guess. It's actually good. But on Greenwood, yeah, he was great. It was crazy how he looked our most experienced, mature, and altogether player. Sorry, I watched the game back last night, actually. I finished the streams and I watched the game back, so I wanted to watch the kids again. I actually wasn't impressed really with any of our youngsters yesterday in large spells. Like, Elanga and Ahmad do good things in like pockets, but no prolonged moments. Like too often those guys that play the ball behind the wrong person or they try the wrong flick or trick. They're young and they need game time. I felt really sorry for Donny though, because Donny had a really good game, but then he made that mistake that cost us a win essentially. And like AWB didn't help him. AWB, I don't know what that man was doing. He's doing me dirty right now, AWB. He's got to improve. But yeah, Greenwood was great. And look, I think Donny did do enough last. A few people are asking, did Donny do enough? Yeah, I think he did. I think Donny played well. He just didn't have a lot around him. Like Mata in the opening 25 minutes was rolling back the years with some of them passes. And then his 57-year-old body gave out on him. And he ain't very quick anyway. When you're not a fast, and he was playing basically central midfield as well. Like, he was in the middle. If he'd been playing in the 10 role, he had to run, he was done. Like, I think if you stuck if you stuck Fred in the game next to Donny for a little bit of Bruno ahead of him, and that would have been great. And what I want to see a little bit more from Elanga, I want to see him. One thing Rashford does brilliantly still is that run from deep that breaks that breaks a line and pulls people back, trying to break that. We need a little bit more of that. No doubt we need a little bit more of that. Let's have a look at some more of these comments coming through. Mata was better. Yeah, I thought it was good, and then he faded. Matt had that one moment where he had that great touch in the middle, and then he played that cutting pass through the midfield. And Robbie Savage said it in a commentary. He was like, he said, that's what I told Charlie. Charlie didn't get the chance to pass the ball, but he was like, that's what I told my son to do. If there's a hard pass on, you take it. And I always remember Rio telling this story. He said in his first training session when he signed for Man United, he said they were training and he did it 2 times on the bounce where he played a safe, simple pass. And Roy Keane growled at him, grabbed him and said, this is Man United. We don't take the safe option when the difficult option's on. And that's probably Man United's midfield issue. We don't take the risks enough. Ironically, though, we do have a player that does take the risks. And when he takes the risk, doesn't come off, he gets moaned at. So it'd be intriguing to see how things improve. But yeah, let's see what happens there. Is the phrase homegrown scorers? It's a good guess. It's a good guess, but no cigar. But it is a good guess, my people. It's a good guess. Terry, hold the cap. Greenwood was nowhere near great. He scored a nice goal. No one was great anyways. Do you know what I would say, Debunk, is I thought he was in what he did, but people around him weren't performing. Like no one last night, barring Greenwood and probably Bailly, did any favors for themselves becoming first-team players. In fact, Delo did. Delo didn't play last night and he performed better than AWB. Legit. He was very, very good. A lot of people think I'm getting on AWB. I love AWB. I want him to turn it around, but I always call out poor performances when I see them. And you have to. That's essentially, that's my job. Essentially, that's why we got, by the way, the Bet Victor Show lineup's just been confirmed. Me, Neeks, Man Like Patty, and Have Hope in this room. It's going to be a good show. 9 p.m. tonight, it's going to be live. Fred also takes risky passes, but you don't credit him like you credit Bruno for trying. It's not about that. I don't think Fred makes enough progressive passes. I want to see more of it. Fred and McTominay, but more so McTominay, too often take the easy sideward pass. I want to see more passes that try and break the lines. It's not so much that I don't actually I get annoyed when those passes don't come off because I want to see them happen, but it's more, why didn't that work? My bugbear and biggest criticism of Fred is never what he does moving forward. It's how he performs when he's facing his own goal, when he's backs to the play, when he's under pressure outside his own box. That's where Fred has let Man United down too often and where he needs to improve. But if under Ralf, we start using him much further up the pitch, if you're not on the ball at the edge of your box very often, you're very unlikely to make a mistake there. So, yeah, I think those things can all kind of be worked on, looked at, and addressed. Terry, Bellingham at Liverpool would be like Genie on steroids. Klopp would make him into a Ballon d'Or winner. Listen, I can see that happening if he was there. Do you think Liverpool are going to pay the peas? That's the question. Will Liverpool spend the money on him? We need to clear out. Hopefully, Ralf will get started on it soon. Yeah, I don't think Man United need to clear out. Like, do you know what's mad about it? I wouldn't, if Mata and Phil Jones are 2 players I'd like to see leave, but I wouldn't feel like they were leaving because I don't even think, when I think about who's going to be in our team and who's going to be on the bench, I don't think about them. So they're not even there. They're not really there, although they're there, right? We need a few youngsters to go out on loan. And we need 2 or 3, 1 or 2 new players into the first team. We need slow and steady, no massive overhauls. Don't mess up the cohesion. Don't mess up the relationships too much. You throw a Haidara into the middle and Ethan led, and you throw a top-class right wing back into that team right now. Maybe Haaland. Throw Haaland and Haidara in that team. under Ten Hag, we could cook. We could cook, but there's a lot of competition. A lot of competition here. What else is being said? Bellingham is going to be. Yeah, I have read that somewhere that Bellingham might be 120 million. If he's 120 million, Liverpool only do it if they sell one of their best players. That's it. Can't say that, Terry. FSG would never do that. I can't, listen, if a Liverpool fan thinks I'll spend 120 on a player, then let me know. I've read that in an article somewhere. Even if, what's the maximum you think Liverpool would pay for Jude Bellingham, people? What's the maximum? What are we saying? I think they'd pay no more than 60, 70 million. You're doing it again, Terry, gassing up your team, but when Arsenal do it, our fans get called out. How about gas us up? I said we could potentially cook. Didn't say we will. I said with Ten Hag and with those players. Are you telling me, bro, Aiden, my guy, are you telling me if Man United signed Haidara and Haaland, added in Lamptey, and had Ten Hag managing with Rangnick upstairs, you telling me there isn't the potential that Man United could cook and play very good football? Come on, that's not overhyping. I didn't say win the Prem, do the treble. Come on, my G. There's a difference. If an Arsenal fan said, look, if we sack Arteta and bring in Ten Hag, and we signed Jude Bellingham, and we signed Dominic Calvert-Lewin, I think we could play much better football and really progress. That's not overhyping. That isn't. Come on, my guy. Come on. Is the phrase last minute winner? No, Chris. That's a good guess, my friend. Thank you very, very much for the super chat. The thing is, Bellingham is probably worth 100 million, no doubt. He has to be. What's he actually going to go and check now? What is his actual current valuation here? I can just move the mic till. If I just move the mic a second, I'm trying to lean past it, right? So let me look here. Jude. Hey, Jude. Do you know what? Someone's got to have the song Hey Jude as the England. Oh, have they? There we go. Right. Oh, wow. He is so good. But I want to see more people do what he's done, though, actually, and go to another country and further the game. Right. Yeah, so the Liverpool Echo has him at 101 million. The transfer market website has him valued at... Ooh, that's high. That's pretty high. Let me just open this up big because their website don't work when it's small. They have him valued at 63 million, but they're always a little bit lower the mark. KPMG have him at 97. So, yeah, about 100 mil. But that's market value and what someone's prepared to pay are two very, very different things, as we've gone through many times on TFT. That's what you said this season when you signed Ronaldo. And let me just say this about Man United season when we signed Ronaldo. No one expected us to be as bad as we were. That's why you haven't seen a single YouTuber, journalist, pundit, Twitter bot say, look what I said would happen to this Man United team after signing Ronaldo. They would go backwards. They'd barely win games. What most people said is the football won't be much better, but with match winners like Ronaldo and Sancho and with a better defender at the back, we'll just individual brilliance will win us more games. That's what most people kind of said. So I expected us to win more games because of the extra quality. What we actually saw was Ollie overthink his system and it all just crumbled. He broke it in his hands. It fell apart. Do you know what Ollie did? Have you seen the Skittles advert where everything the guy touches turns to Skittles? That was essentially Ollie this year, but it fell apart. Everything he touched broke. That was what Ollie did. But good challenge there, my friend. Thank you. I like it when people challenge me. It's actually more fun. Let's have a look at a few more comments here. Hey, Jude, don't be afraid. Sign that contract and make us better. Remember that Klopp will give you his hugs. Then you can start to make us better. But does that fit the tune? I don't know the words well enough. I'm not really a Beatles fan. Like, I like a few Beatles songs. Yeah, when it comes to the... Oh, no, it does. Yeah. It would work. Don't be afraid. Yeah, it does. Yeah. I don't know the words. Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, I'm not going to sing again. I don't mind singing with, but someone's like cringe. Yeah. Oh, no, Dave, it's all right, cringe. But I'd sing if I had my voice changer on, because I've actually got one of the T-Pay things in it where it does the auto tune in. I was like, hoping they playing with it, and it sounded really good. I know, just imagine me, 35-year-old Terry, nearly 36, in his little studio at home, recording songs sounding like T-Pain. What an evening that was. Yeah, I was doing that with a bottle of scotch, you know. The Beatles are trash. Listen, I'm one of these people, whether you're a Beatles fan or a Rolling Stones fan, neither are trash. I'm not particularly keen on Elvis Presley, but he wasn't trash at his job. He just wasn't. I know people like my dad ain't a big Michael Jackson fan, but he'd never say he wasn't good at music. They're all great. I don't like opera, but you can't say Luciano Pavarotti was not a good singer. Come on, man. Pasta. That is very offensive. Allegedly, it's a pasta brand. Haaland to United. Can you imagine? Oh, what a great name. Do you know what you could? Oh, I just thought of something so good. Someone put a tweet in here called Ash, and he said trolling stones. And I'm like, that's what you could call that's what we should actually call Twitter spaces. Trolling stones. Like they're a band. They're the trolls. Terry, you are not that old. You're 48, Terry. I'm not 48. I feel it some days. You wait till the hair transplant's done. Then it's going to look good when the fringe is back. I know. But listen, people, short stream today. We're back 9 p.m. live. Bet Victor show. It's going to be big. It's going to be explosive. We're previewing the games, putting our bets on. Make sure you're here 9 p.m. nowhere else. Until then, my people, take care. Goodbye.